Hi guys, welcome back, Sean the Bufflin here with another PTCGO video, and today we are once again covering Centiskorch VMAX in the Players Cup 2 events that are currently ongoing, and I've switched up my list a little bit from the last video that I put up a couple of days ago, and today we are, we've made some changes, like I say, just to help a little bit more with aggression, a little bit more consistency, a little bit more help of switching and things like that regarding Pika. So now we've taken out the Heatran and put in the Reshazard just for a little bit of early aggression. It's also a great attacker and can usually survive a Brave Blade if our opponents aren't playing either Vitality Band or they are not playing a Zigzagoon. So that's a Brave Blade with the Altered Creation, that is. Of course, some Altered Creation decks do play Leon, so that isn't great, but not really much to do about that if they can find a Altered Creation, Leon and Brave Blade on the same turn, but it's just one of those things. So we took out one Air Balloon and included a copy of Birdkeeper just for additional draw support, and it also helps switch as well. And we are now playing a Scoop Up engine that's involving a couple of Jirachis and a Giratina to help with the mess of a matchup that is Lucario Melmetal with our previous version, because our previous version had no hammers or no Tina, so therefore the coating metal energy was a problem. But we now have the Tina and we now have the Scoop Up nets, so it means that we can use Tina's effect a maximum of 4 times in total. Probably will never get to that because obviously at some point we'll probably want to scoop up either Jirachi or maybe even Volcanion, but that's why we still have a copy of Air Balloon and the 4 copies of Switch. So they're the only... Oh, I also reduced the energy count as well, sorry, and I put in an additional Fire Crystal just to further help with stall-based matches. So that's all for the deck list, and I'll be right back with some gameplay. Be right back. Right, we are here for Game 1 in another Players' Cup event with Centiskorch. And we're against Tablemon, which is one of my favourite streamers. So that's good, and he is probably going to be going second, of course. So we'll see what we're up against. I don't exactly have a great opening hand, but I am just going to Stellar Wish and grab the Giant Half and pass, I'm pretty sure. We could overextend, but I'd rather keep the Scoop Up nets and switches for late game. Plus, we don't know if our opponent's playing Fire, and therefore that's exactly why I didn't put the Giant Half into play. So we see a Welder onto the Dedenne, which is awful, unfortunately, for my opponent. And with any luck, I will... well, that's very unfortunate for Tablemon, it's got to be said. So we're going to do some thinning through and Scoop Up net and things like that, shenanigans. Certainly we are going straight for this. And all we'll need is the additional Fire. So we can go Stellar Wish into Quick Ball. And we can Scoop Up net this into this. Welder 2 onto it, and we don't find another Fire just yet, but we can also always go for some additional switch and Scoop Up plays. We do want to end this right now, so we're going to go here, put this back, grab a Crobat. We're going to switch into Jirachi quick ball away the boss's orders for Dedenne. We'll crow back for 4. And yeah, we just have the immediate game. I'm very sorry if you watch this table, man. You are one of my favourite streamers, so I'm sorry that you had such an awful opening hand. But it was somewhat good to play against you, and hopefully we'll have a better game next time. So that's all for round 1 of this Players' Cup event, and we will be straight back for game 2. So we are back for round 2 of another Players' Cup event, and we're going second again most likely, which we are, yes, and that would mean that we're probably once again against the fire deck. So not spectacular. And I think we just go Stellar Wish into Pokemon Communication. We will Quick Ball away a single copy of Communication for, I think, Centiskorch. Another Centiskorch, that is. Actually, we can go Reshazard, because if we're against Eternatus, which we most likely could be, it does make more sense to attach here, assuming that we can go Welder onto this for 2 energy, possibly attach the 3rd, and Flare Strike. I was going to say Flare Strike or Centiskorch, but that doesn't appear to be the case. And this is why I didn't put Giant Half in play. So the Pokecom is amazing here, because it allows us to push back the Marshadow and grab Theon. I want to be putting the pressure on as much as possible. So we will Scoop Up Net. We'll Scoop Up Net, lead Jirachi out of play. Put Reshazards into play. Giant Half for 2 more energies. Welder onto the active. And this is about as perfect as it gets, really, being able to just deplete my opponent's board state altogether and just simply Flare Strike. And we have the boss's orders for next turn as well. We also have Eldegoss. So Eldegoss can always potentially get us a second Welder. So I'll be going for the Centiskorch again. Or it's just going straight for a Dedenne. Ooh, that's rough. So another Welder down. 2 switches down. And we're against Torkoal. How much HP does this have? An annoying amount, it would seem. So it discards 2 energy. I think now's about as good a time as ever that I'm going to get to be able to take advantage of my opponent's board state. And simply Welder onto the active, and well, I mean, if we hit double switch, but even if not, we can always double blaze GX. We don't hit double switch, unfortunately, but it's not too much of an issue. We are going to get rid of that Giant Half as well, because we don't want my opponent to have it. And We'll attach here and go double blaze. So it's to be said that all my opponents are having clearly rough starts here. And not to mention, I had what could only be described as a somewhat godly hand against this Centiskorch Torkoal deck. So I thought the luck might end at being able to donk table on one of the world's best players, but apparently even though I got chosen to go first, which is the least optimal turn and least possibly optimal thing to happen to this deck, I've still managed to obviously come this far where I'm in a 4 prize card ahead of my opponent Braves. At this point, it doesn't particularly matter what my opponent does, I wouldn't say. A reset stamp would obviously be horrible, but my opponent would need reset stamp. Firstly, he'd need Giant Heart, Welder. I think he's rage quit, possibly. I think that's exactly what's happened here. I think my opponent's rage quit. Which is entirely fine by me. Because we have Flare Strike again next turn. But to survive, he'd need Giant Heart, assuming he is still here, he'd need Giant Heart, Welder, and the third energy, and a Cape of Toughness to survive the incoming Flare Strike. So if my opponent gets all that, and he needs a reset stamp because obviously I have the boss to take out the Sedani regardless. But if he has all that, then fair play to him. I've seen stranger things happen. But it does seem like my opponent's either rage quit or his internet's gone off. So we'll just be ending this game with a very swift Flare Strike. And that's all there is for game 2. So with any with any indication of what my previous luck has been like, then that will be the last of my luck in this Players' Cup. Or in this particular event anyway. But anyway, we shall be right back for game 3. And before we do that, I do have some more codes. Unfortunately, I sat on 2 of them, but I will give out those codes right now. So hopefully, with any luck, if they're not too distorted, and as well, of course, if the camera focuses. Hopefully, there we go, someone will be able to check that in. So there's a Vivid Voltage, and we have one more for you guys. So again, try and get the camera to focus. There we go. And there's one more for you guys. And that'll be all for this one, and we'll be back for game 3 as soon as I... So, we are back for round 3, and for the 3rd time in a row, I am going first, which is extremely suboptimal. As I have mentioned, but it is not the end of the world. We have an okay start, and we've got Stellar Wish in the active. We've got the Quick Ball to go for the Centiskorch. The second Dene is absolutely awful. It's very unfortunate because we're going to have no Dene for the rest of the game. So we need to grab, obviously, Centiskorch here. It would have been better to grab Rashazard, to be fair. We'll thin through with this, potentially, I was going to say, if we find the one-off Birdkeeper, I would actually discard that, but we do not, and I'm certainly not discarding a Welder. I think here, we're just going to hold. We'll discard this. There's no reason for it. We'll grab the Rashazard. And now we'll find the Stellar Wish. We do find a Welder for next turn, but is the giant half for next turn that I need. So we are going to push this out of the way, because that means he needs to use a switch, as opposed to the fact that he could have used either a switch or a scoop up net to move that. And we'll just attach here and pass. So, average at best, possibly. I do see a welder onto the active. We would need to get so lucky to be able to hit this knockout. But I think the luck in the second game and the donking of table 1 has depleted my luck to 0, hence the... well, that's made it even worse. So now we need so much. A welder here particularly doesn't matter, but I'm going to thin it through anyway. We're certainly not going to need this fire crystal. And I do have access to my crowbat, thankfully. So, giant half is the only card we need. And, of course, we do not get it. So, Stellar Wish. Can we find it here? No, we do not. Oh, my days. This is bad. So, we'll Birdkeeper. What do we Birdkeeper into, though? Well, we Birdkeeper into the Volcanion because we have the scoop up there. Ah, no, I've done it wrong. This game. Cheers, Giant Half, for being too late, as always. I think, actually, we'll just pass here. We've got an acceptable hand. My opponent may even replace his own Wondrous Labyrinth here, which he does. And we'll see if he finds the VMAX, I suppose. So taking some early aggression onto this isn't so bad. Does he actually have the VMAX as well? Or is he just going to Dene? Yeah, he's going to Dene. And with any luck, he won't find the VMAX. He's down 3 Welder. Of course, they do play Eldegoss as well. And we still have all our Welders. He's obviously digging for the VMAX that he has not found yet. There may be another Pokemon in this hand. Oh, well, if there was another Pokemon in that hand, if there's a Pokemon communication in there and he hasn't found the VMAX off these cards now, that will be extremely bad for my opponent. He may even end up retreating here or using an additional switch. I'd love to see an additional switch gone. Well, either of those things, actually. If he takes the knockout would be the most ideal scenario that I'd find myself in. Gonna quick ball something else. Jirachi. So he has got switch and scoop up nets and things. So he's going to scoop up net this. Yeah, that's fine. And he reset stamps me, which is also fine. I think. And yeah, we do get the Welders back. Well, we get so much back. I mean, realistically, best thing to do is to giant half this, welder onto the active. Can I have some energies please there? Thank you. Welder onto the active and attach to the bench Reshizard. If I even manage to find a fire off this, which I do, that's good news. We're not going to evolve that yet. And yet, we want to basically force him to take a single prizer. He has one welder remaining, so like, it's not so bad if I take this knockout here. I also still have a single copy of Fire Crystal left. We have another switch. I don't think the other switch is going to be anywhat relevant. I don't want to be evolving this until I'm ready to attack with it, because right now I assume he's got boss swords in hand, and with this play right here, it makes me feel like he's got another switch in hand. Yeah, and he's going for the beat catch. So my opponent is suffering immensely here. And the best thing to take a knockout with is Reshizard here with the Flare Strike, because there's no way he can KO Reshizard next turn, but it might even be better to double blaze, especially as he has used a copy of... I need to think this through thoroughly. Yeah, he's used 3 copies of Bother. So, right, as he's used a copy of Boss Order, sorry. Next turn he can only put 3 energy onto this, so 120, 160, 200, 240 is the max he can hit, unless he randomly plays Leon. So, we are going to just go Reshizard, double welder. I'm not sure if I want this Jirachi in play. Or, yeah, we do want Jirachi in play, we do actually need it now. And we will finally attach an energy here. We will switch into Jirachi. Scoop up net. It's good to burn the scoop up nets out of the deck. And we are simply going to double blaze, I think. Well, we could Flare Strike and hit this for 300, because it is his only attacker. So yeah, Flare Strike is actually better. So we'll get 2 more prizes. And we are in a very, very good position. My opponent would need to find another recess stamp. He finally finds the Centiskorch Beamer. There's his welder at least, which is fine. I think I'm playing this to the best of my ability, considering the fact that I had to discard both my second Dedenne and my Eldegoss at the start of the match. And I think he's probably potentially realised it, that this is 200 right here and the extra energy is 240, so we'd need to attach here. Or do what he's doing right now, find another Centiskorch V and attach to that. But with the boss in hand, I'm going to thin through with Giant Half as well, discard our copy of... No, surely he won't be able to hit it. He'd need 2 scoop up nets and yeah, well, he's got the energy. So those other two cards would have to both be scoop up nets for him to take this KO. Now, realistically, what is the likelihood of that? And yeah, we do see the Centiskorch V coming down and the energy, as I knew would be the case. In a sense, you could almost say that I got somewhat lucky there. Now, I was contemplating using double blaze here, but it would appear that there is no point. So we'll use giant half, discard this, get the energy, and then switch again into Jirachi, attempt to find another welder, which we do not. I'll take the air balloon. The air balloon actually gives us a pivot option. And I don't know if I've got any fires in the discard yet. I have 0 fires in the discard. So that is somewhat annoying. It is better to outrage here, because outrage allows us to maximize our damage output. So yeah, we're just going to go with outrage. So I am like thoroughly pulling at my beard hairs there. I tend to do that when I'm thinking through situations. Helps me concentrate somewhat. Talking of concentrating, I totally forgot at the start of the game, which I will do now for you guys, give out our third code, as we did make it to the final round. The third and final code for the third and final round, stupid camera, of this tournament. Come on, focus. There we go. And yeah, that's no reset stamp from my opponent, and that is an easy, well, I can only describe it as an easy players cup, realistically. You didn't find any giant charm for this, so it's simply high heat blast for the knockout. So, as you'll have seen in my last Centiskorch video, that my luck with this deck is very hit and miss. The first one was awful, and I don't know how I even got through one round, but this one shows that when luck is a non-factor, actually, because I went first in all 3 of those games and I still won, and that is a real testament to Centiskorch's power, and that, you know, even whether you go first or second, if you're a good player, you can still make it and get far. So anyway, I'll be right back again with the deck. So, did we win that event? Yes. Did I go first in all 3 games, which is horrible for this deck? Yes, and I still won all 3 games. Did I manage to beat one of the best players in the world, even by donking him? Yes. There are so many different things that anyone could say that's ever played this deck that would live as a testament to the strength of Centiskorch VMAX, and the fact that it runs over Rillaboom is like a non-element, you could say, because obviously it hits for weakness, and Rillabox is quite a potentially powerful and also potentially popular deck in the Players' Cup, it would seem, as I've played against it many times. So if you enjoyed the content and the video, please drop a like, I'd really appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, I'd really appreciate that too. If you could just click that button down there, it only takes you 1 second of your time. I've been Sean the Bufflin, and thank you all for watching. Peace, guys.